Hey YouTube, well it's Sunday morning and I haven't made a video for a couple of days, mainly because my wife has not been doing well. She's been having some sickness problems, and I've been trying to spend time trying to figure out what's going on with her and everything, and knowing more about what she needs so I can help her, and that's what I was doing for the past 2 days. So she's doing a lot better now. She seems to be doing better. One of the things that I decided was I think I'm going to get rid of our chickens. We have a neighbor that's going to take them, and not really a neighbor but a friend that's going to take them from us, because it's getting to be too much for Sally, and I don't want to have to do it either. I mean, we enjoyed doing it when we did it, but it's just getting to be too much, and without any help for, you know, around here to really help put things together the way they should be, we decided to do that. So anyway, I just wanted to show you, I'm going to work on this a little bit today, since I didn't do anything Friday and Saturday. Actually, very little that I did. So I'm going to put that panel in there right where you see it, and then I'm going to coat the rest of that stuff with POR15, or I think it's POR15, and then we'll be good with that.
I just took 2 pork chops up.
Okay guys, so that panel I welded in place now. I'm going to leave that just the way it is. All I'm going to do is brush this off here, and then I want to put POR15 on there. I need to get along here yet, get the paint off, and then I'll put the POR15 on there and then take care of that. So it's getting there. Once I get the other panel in, you know, all the work is just about done, but I want to just get this prepped up nice before I put it in, so we don't have to worry about rusting after the fact. Okay guys, so here's what we have next. Now, the seat hole back in here for the bolt was torn completely out. That's it down here. You can see the big hole in it. So the bolt wasn't being used, and the seat was probably rocking. But anyway, I have the bolts into the seat there in 3 places. So I'm going to mark this with a marker, and then I'm going to drill a hole in there, and then I'm going to make a tab with a nut on it to weld to the frame, and then we'll have a place to put this other bolt when we go to put the seat in. So you can see the tab. I cut out that square, which is that. I cut that square out back to good metal, put a piece of good metal in there. I had to put a little bend in it, and now I'm going to mark that, and then I'll put a hole in it. Okay, so the seat's sitting in place. It's sitting on top of that piece that I want. So I'm going to mark the hole the same size as the hole that's inside the bracket here, even though the bolt hole itself doesn't have to be that big, but at least it'll give me a little bit of room. I'll try and put the bolt in the center of that when I put it in place. So we mark that. I need to take the seat back out, take that piece of metal out, drill a hole in it, then make a bracket to put a nut down onto the frame underneath that hole. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay guys, so now you can see what I have there. That anywhere in there will fit the bracket for the seat, because the bracket sort of moves a little bit. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take this out of here, okay, and I want to put a bracket around this frame, and then I want to weld the nut to that. So it'll be welded to this, it'll be welded underneath that, and it'll be welded under the new top panel that's going on there, and that'll give a lot of good strength on there. So I need to make a piece now to go around this, and then once I get that around there, I can mark this by setting this on top of there and marking that piece, and that'll tell me where to put the nut. Okay guys, so this is the frame for where the seat would be mounted, and I have 2 marks here. Right there is where the nut has to be. So the nut then is going to be welded on underneath that. Okay, now the problem with this at the moment is this is a little higher than I wanted. It actually is pushing my panel up away from this. I don't want that. I want it to be down low. So the reason for that is because when I bent these sides, I used the brake. The problem with using the brake is you don't get a nice square cut. It uses up metal to give you, or a square 90 in there. So I'm going to go on the anvil with a hammer and square that up a little bit so it sets down in a little nicer. and then we'll weld the nut in the back, and that nut will show through that, and we'll be able to weld all this back together then. Okay, so I hammered that on the horse, or on the anvil, and now it's sitting down there nice and solid on that angle. So I can weld that in there after I weld the nut onto the back there. So I have a grade 8 nut, let's see, what is it, 3/8. I'm going to weld that right on the back of that hole over there. I'll put a bolt through it so that I don't mess up the threads, and I'll weld that onto there on the back side. Okay, so the nut's welded on the bottom of there, of that. I left the bolt in there. I'm going to take and tack that. It was only spot welded, so I'm going to take it and stack. I'm going to tack this down onto this frame here. Okay, so now that's tacked down to where that nut has to be. So I can go ahead and weld that, you know, a little bit better than just a tack now. And then that nut will be underneath the floor where it has to be in order to bolt the seat back down. Okay guys, well I welded that. First I tacked it in, now I welded it in. And I'm going to put POR 15 over all this stuff. Now the only thing I want to do is in the back here underneath the tools there's a rust patch that I want to cut out of there in here. So I'll get that yet, and then I'll be in good shape once I finish welding this square in. Okay guys, so you can see I put POR 15 in there on the blank metal. I also put it in here on wherever it could rust or anything, so I'm in good shape now with this, and I'm going to let this dry and then I'll be able to weld the other panels in. Okay guys, so if you look at the panels there, this one here is the front one. That one already came with that black paint on there. It's not the best of stuff, but it's not bad. This one did not come with anything on it, so I put POR 15 on both sides of it. Now that POR 15 is really good stuff. I like it a lot. Once it gets hard, it's hard on there. It's very hard to get off. Okay, it doesn't really melt down with anything, lacquer thinner or nothing like that that I know of does anything to it. So that's the panel that's going to go in the back then. And then, like if you haven't watched the other videos or anything, putting the POR 15 in here is going to stop any of this that catches dirt between the new floor panel and what's there now. It'll stop it from rusting, and that's what we're trying to accomplish here. So I think that what we have here is good for this. I may have to put a brace or two in here yet to do a little welding too with the floor pan, but as far as I'm concerned this looks pretty good, and I'm going to continue with this as it is. So yeah, looks like we're getting there. And again, that's the bolt for the seat. Okay, it's Sunday, it's 3 o'clock. I'm going to take Bullseye for a walk and then I'm done for the day.